I'm Namrata Hazarika, representing the International Organization for the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination and the Geneva International Center for Justice. Human rights violations have heightened since the COVID-19 pandemic. The closure of borders and movement restrictions to contain the pandemic have ignored the fundamental rights and needs of migrants. Hence, they have been disproportionately affected by the pandemic, with their fundamental rights of non-discrimination and equality being compromised. This discrepancy has been particularly observed in healthcare. The living circumstances of migrants are dictated by their limited finances, making them more vulnerable to COVID-19. Additionally, migrants do not have access to health services, a problem accentuated by digital exclusion and language barriers. The rise of surveillance humanitarianism has reflected discriminatory practices on digitization. For example, automated voice registration systems run on an algorithm that fails to recognize certain dialects, increasing linguistic security threats. Second, the adoption of digital securities in the form of facial recognition that comes equipped with a history of misrecognizing people of color. Lastly, governmental biometric data collection of migrants is founded on contested grounds of legitimacy. Currently, there exists no integrated regulatory global governance framework for the use of said digital technologies. Hence, the responsibility to maintain and respect international human rights legal obligation in the regulation of the design and use of said technologies is negligible. EAFORD and GICJ urge member states to deliberate on and implement a regulatory framework to govern the concept of equitable healthcare, particularly under the pretext of a global pandemic. We condemn technology that cannot meet the standards set by the international human rights legal framework prohibiting racial discrimination. Finally, we would like to stress the importance of transparency and accountability in the said context. Two qualities enshrined and endorsed for the implementation of the provisions of the DDPA. To maintain them, as discussed in the 48th session of the HRC, we emphasize the need for public-private partnerships in the use of said digital border technologies so that government accountability is maintained. Thank you.